just the way we see it is completely different from the way they see it. And just my belief in the European Union, the European values, is what made me become an activist.
Hi, Ekaterina. Welcome.
Hi, Alexian. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thanks.
All right, let's start with the first question I have for you. Could you briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, I'll try to be as brief as possible. Hello, everyone. My name is Ekaterina. I'm 28 years old. I am Bulgarian, British, and European citizen. I guess global as well. I got involved with Jeff in 2020, and I've been very active in general politics since I was really young. I participated in a campaign for my country, Bulgaria, to join the EU, and then when I moved to the UK when I was quite young, so I also was very active in the Remain campaign as well.
Now, let's get to the main and most important questions. How would you define your relationship with Brexit?
It's beyond words. I would say just shock is the main word. Before the referendum, I never thought this was going to happen. Not in my right mind. I never thought, that this can happen. And I remember I read a lot of books about it, and I was reading how difficult it is for the United Kingdom to actually leave the European Union, the single market, all of the rules. And I thought it's impossible, and I thought people would never, they would never vote this. So I guess I was wrong in the way I was reading the British public, the same way that I guess David Cameron was wrong to read the public.
I can imagine that your shock was even greater considering that you took part in the Remain campaign. So what prompted you to be an activist?
I think it's just where I come from, and my family background. My parents were very passionate about the state of the world, and about geopolitics. And my country used to be communist before 1989. My parents weren't free, like the same freedoms that we all enjoy. The fact that we can travel, we can move wherever we want. My family, they didn't have these rights, and we really, as a country in Bulgaria, we fought very, very hard in order to enter the European Union and be free and enjoy democracy, human rights, and all of this. And I'm very passionate about the European Union because it brought peace to Europe, it brought prosperity to Europe, it brought unbelievable freedom and the fact that we're the greatest, the freest continent in the world. So I always stood firmly for the EU, for what it brought, for the values it stands for. And we joined the EU in 2007. And it was the most joyous moment in our history. We've entered a big family of Europe. So when the UK started to have this discourse against Europe, I was very amazed. I was shocked, to be honest, because the way we would see Europe and Eastern Europe is completely different from the way that kind of people who are for Brexit would see the European Union. We would see it as a force of good. They would see it as a force of bureaucracy, and they would just the way we see it is completely different from the way they see it. And just my belief in the European Union, the European values, is what made me become an activist.
The UK voted Brexit, and you wrote an article about it. You wrote an article about your shock, and you wrote an article about your struggle to get the UK citizenship and to be able to remain in the UK without having to take the burden of asking for a visa, for instance. What prompted you to write such an article?
I wanted to share my experience with everyone because I'm sure that a lot of people out there will have the same experience as I do. And I wanted to help people and inform them and make them aware about the bureaucracy of applying for British citizenship. So I just really want to help people. And when I was applying for citizenship, it was a very, very tremendously difficult process, very bureaucratic. So I knew that there were going to be people after me who were going to apply. So I really wanted to help them. That prompted me because there was no one to help me. when I was doing it. There was only one Facebook group, which was about European citizens supporting each other in the UK. So I give credit to these people. They really helped me. Sometimes I ask them questions, but I wish there was some sort of a guide, there was some sort of a easy, busy, like text that was going to tell me how to apply for citizenship. So that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to help people.
Almost like a to-do list. All right, we are heading to the last two questions. Very briefly, now that you live in the UK, what is the major challenge you noticed for the UK in a post-Brexit context?
I think when UK joined the EU in 1973, it was a different world from the world we live in 2021. We have new powers in the world like China, like Russia, and they're very powerful. And, it's a kind of different geopolitical context from the Cold War. So there are a lot of big, powerful countries, and the UK will be, I'd say, more alone in this unpredictable environment, because at least during the Cold War, you knew that there were two competing blocks between East and the West, while right now it's a bit more complicated than what it was in 1973. So I'd say great power politics is definitely one for UK, the different geopolitical context. And I guess it's a bit challenging, I guess, to forge these trade deals with so many countries after they left the single market, because there's so many, because for 40, 50 years as part of the EU, they didn't have trade deals with other countries. So they have to really forge these deals on their own. And that is quite challenging to, negotiate with each country in the world individually.
Right. You mentioned that you wrote notably the article for the others. So let's take on this dimension. What would you say to other Europeans?
Stay united, believe in Europe. That's what I would say mainly. But you mean what I would say to them in terms of the citizenship?
You summarized perfectly. Stay united, believe in Europe. That's your key message. So thank you very much, Ekaterina.